ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the season finale for the 63rd season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. This is race number 14. At the conclusion of 66 laps, we are crowning ourselves a champion. I'm Seth Cole, he's Michael Norman. Michael, let's bring everybody up to speed in case they didn't get our coverage last week in the first race of this final round. It was a tale of two races in a sense there for our final four. Chuck McClure speeding penalty, Josh Metallic involved in an early wreck within the first 10 laps. Both of them finished outside of the top 20. They come into this race in a bit of a desperate situation. As of right now, how we're looking at it, both Jeremy Jeffries and Tim Nofsker, who finished very well, separated by 4 points. This is where we're looking at the championship. However, something you and I talked about last week, it's not over for McClure and Metallic. They mathematically still have a shot, but you said, hey, they're going to need a big car count. How about this tonight for our finale? Full 40-car field. So that at least is a good sign for McClure and Metallic to at least have a shot at this thing, but a lot of other things have to fall their way.
Oh, yeah, it does. They have, not only does it have to fall their way, but they've got to be in the right spot. Lead the laps that need to lead, and put themselves in the proper positions. And like I said, Seth, it's almost like a must-win for them. They have to pretty much, I don't want to say fall out of the race, but they've got to have trouble and be pretty much out and close for them to have real competition. So it's mainly a 2-car battle right now, but with 4 cars still with, the words I'm looking for, but I can't find.
So we will be keeping an eye specifically tonight on Jeremy Jeffries and Tim Nofsker. Again, 4 points separating those two for the championship. Nofsker, a former champion
how many points is it per different position?
But just 1 point per position.
So
you've also got the bonus point for a lap led, bonus point for most laps led. That could come into play tonight, potentially. But both these drivers are former champions. All 4 of the drivers that made it into this final round are former champions. But Nofsker, it's been a while since he's ended up winning a championship. Jeremy Jeffries, you only have to go back 2 seasons, season 61, when he got his first championship. And so he's looking for his second championship in 3 seasons. For those 2 drivers, okay, you talked about McClure and Metallic approaching this as must-win situation. If you're Jeffries and Nofsker, what are you looking at tonight in that situation? Are you wanting to maybe approach this as a must-win situation, stay up at the front all night, or are you looking for a safe spot in the field to be able to just run for a while? What are you thinking? Like, I honestly, with it being only a 1v1, and there's another 40 cars out there, or another 38 cars besides the 2 of you, I'm not sure I necessarily like the situation.
No, not at all. You got to put yourself, with having 38 other drivers out there, even with this being kind of like a 1v1, you have 38 other potential problems.
Yes.
In a way, of being involved in a wreck. Like, for instance, I mean, look back on, I don't even know what row it is, but you've got 25th and 26th, Jeremy Jeffries and Josh Metallic in the same row starting. One of them, Metallic needs Jeffries to go straight to the back. He's going to try to tell all of his friends, all of his buddies, don't work with this guy. It's going to be this. It could be. I don't want to say a lot of politicking involved, but at the very beginning of the race, you might see it, but at the very end, it's going to be every man for themselves. As the command is given, but we're still missing a couple drivers. Like Donnie Garrett didn't make the start, and I see this weird blank spot in the 10th position.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But like Donnie Garrett's supposed to start 3rd. He didn't even get on the racetrack.
Nope. So we'll follow up on that. Garrett's been really good here down the home stretch. Of course, made the playoffs, got eliminated during the round of 8.
Is there any idea why Donnie didn't get on the track?
Huh? You're not on Whisper. Anyway.
No!
Well, as you're trying to figure that Whisper out there, we're going to take you through the field here. Big field tonight with Garland Oaks in the random qualifying draw getting the pole position alongside of Graham McDonald for the front row. Row 2 is going to be Donnie Garrett and Greg Palmer, as Michael documented Donnie not gridding up. Richard Martin, a former champion, alongside Jeff Crivello in row 3. Mark Paglia and Chuck McClure, one of our final 4. going to make up the 4th row. Bobby Farrell, Bernie Mobb's going to complete the top 10. Keith Bynum, Ulysses Sandoval back in row 6. Row 7, the Bracket Challenge champion, Jessica Shelton, alongside of Brian Lovell. Row 8, Mike Mangialardi and Grant Wesley, last time out's winner. Dante Ricky and Tim Knopfsker, one of those final 4 compete for the championship back in row 9. And your top 20 completed with John Godfrey and Cy Jones.
John Gilbert Godfrey.
John Gilbert Godfrey, you right. Row 11, looks like we got another restart here. I'm assuming this is for Donnie Garrett to be able to get on track, so it gives a little extra time to go down the lineup. Doug Kulik and David Cannon, they're going to be back in row 11. Row 12, Kelly Causey and the points leader, Jeremy Jeffries, going to be mired back in the 24th position for tonight's start. Josh Metallic back in the 25th position. He is in a must-win situation, one of our final 4, alongside of Glenn Harris. Back in the 14th row, Terry Bombard and Joe DeSpirito. And then it'll be Rodney Sellens and Bob Seminara completing the top 30. Greg Lovell, Denny Carroll back in 31st and 32nd. In row 17 will be Bob Dixon and Jim Gloud. Row 18, Doug Cady. Nice to see him back in the field alongside of Brian Rawson. Row 19, Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
There's the first one of the night, alongside of Pat McCarsky, and then it'll be Billy Elliser and Robert Breedlove in the 20th and final row for the 40 cars that will start tonight. Looks like we got the Donnie Garrett situation squared away. He's gridded up here, and we'll get ready for tonight's event. You talk about the X Factors, Michael. This is the final race of the season as well, so everybody wants to get that final checkered flag. It's, there's 4 drivers. They have their own agendas. Survive, must win. They want the championship. The other 36 drivers, there's no championship hanging in the balance for them, so they can go all out. It's almost kind of like the mentality we talked about at the beginning of the season with that first race, right? Checkers or wreckers. I mean, if you end up getting the checkered flag, great. That's an automatic ticket into the playoffs. If you end up wrecking, well, then you got another few regular season races to be able to get those points back. Here tonight, I feel like for those other 36 drivers, it's checkers or wreckers. If you end up wrecked, well, it's the end of the season. Might as well go out swinging.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's... it's gonna be. Sorry, I just whisper me something, and it just completely made me lose my train of thought.
What kind of a train was it? Was it the little engine that could?
It was a train with no brakes.
That sounds bad.
Yep. It's my entire life is just a runaway train.
A runaway train. I ended up hearing a song today about a train, and I can't remember what it was now. 70s on 7, Sirius XM.
And you listen to that. You only remember that because it played in my mom's car when she was taking us to the airport that one time.
And it's also played in my boss's pickup, and then today it was in my friend's pickup truck. So, yep. I wasn't alive during the 70s, but I might as well have been. I've been exposed to his music for many years.
You weren't alive during the 70s, Seth. You were born in the 20s.
I'm talking about the 1870s, but
Oh, okay.
The Wiley Coat Tribute pace car makes the left-hand turn to pit road. And here we go. Final race of the season. 66 laps. The 67 gonna lead us here to the green. The finale, the hunt for the championship in season 63 is about to be underway. We're just waiting on the flagman, and the green flag is waving. Here we go.
Oh no, he dropped. I'm kidding.
What, Jack Roush dropping his hat?
No, he dropped the flagman. Dropped the flag.
Do you think they throw a debris caution for that here in NR?
Somebody blew second gear already.
Oh boy.
Not entirely sure who is the...
I'm assuming it might have been the 21 of Randy Waugh. I just saw him way back there.
Yep, and he got Billy Ellis there behind him.
See if they're able to draft back up here to the lead group that are starting to already fan out 3 wide. I think I saw Bob Dixon for a brief moment. The red STP Dodge. He fanned out to the 3rd lane. Or actually, maybe he was actually going up there to drop back, because now looks like he is drifted at least outside of the top 20. Yep, he's actually falling to the back there.
First lap led by Garland Oaks.
Garland Oaks, he's been on a streak as of late. Ended up picking up another victory over in Primetime Racing League. Super Speedway race. And now trying to get his first win in Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. We ended up having a couple of seasons where we had some first-time winners. This season so far, everybody that's gone to victory lane has been a former winner in the series. Maybe tonight, maybe in the season finale, we get that Cinderella story and a first-time winner. Donnie Garrett tucked in line. Now he'll jump up to the outside line there. Nice move in front of Richard Martin. Didn't lead the lap, but he should have the momentum here through 1 and 2, especially when they get to the back straightaway. Garland Oaks now going to have to rely on Mark Paglia on that inside line. Saw Bob Dixon go up to that third lane.
Middle lane always usually gets a good run, Seth, and we see it with the push down the back straightaway.
And I was noticing, we saw Bob Dixon go up to that third lane early to drop back. Nobody really has ventured up there, though. They're all content to run double file for the time being. Now a little further back, someone's making a move. I believe that is Josh Metallic, who, remember, is one of those drivers in a must-win situation tonight to still have a shot at this championship, and even
honestly,
then,
even depending on where the others finish, winning probably wouldn't even be enough
that's
anyways.
the thing, right? We talked about this last week, that they could win the race, talking about Metallic and Chuck McClure, but if Nofsker and Jeffries finish up anywhere close to them inside the top 5, inside the top 10, those two drivers wouldn't be able to garner enough points. As Garland Oaks going to go around. And he's going to catch some air right in the middle of the field. McClure's involved in it. DeSpirito is up and over. Metallic's in the middle of that as well. Another car, still the 24 flipping and barrel rolling down the back straightaway. Now Doug Hewlett gets collected. The big one has struck here in the early going, lap 4.
That was Garland getting loose. I wonder if there was a bit of a bumper thing. Let's see.
We're going to go back and look at the replay. I think he got tight off of 2 and almost was in a middle lane there.
He did. He got tight off of 2. And then the 33 comes down and hits the 67, turning him sideways. And then everybody else just couldn't. There's nothing that nobody else could do.
We'll have to find Jeffries and Nofsker, but I know that at least the 2 drivers we talked about that were in must-win situations tonight, McClure and Metallic, both were involved in this. As a matter of fact, I believe the 67 of Garland Oaks, as we take a look back at the replay, I believe he actually lands on top of the 17.
I think the 39 is okay. I believe the 39 just kind of spun. Didn't really hit nothing that bad.
Nofsker with a little door bang to Kelly Causey.
Jeremy Jeffries gets through it.
He just came to a stop. He's on the right side of your screen there, the white and orange goldfish machine.
I'm gonna ride on. In my point of view, I'm gonna ride on board with him and see how he got through that.
Joe DeSpirito, he went for a long tumble down the back straightaway. Normally, we see lengthy barrel rolls like that. If the car catches the grass, we normally don't see that on the pavement at super speedways. It's normally really quick barrel rolls, but this was a lengthy one. Take a look as we're focused on the 24.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. Watching the onboard of the 1, he's going to need some new tires after that because I'm sure he flattened a couple of them.
The brakes work on the 1 car, we can confirm. Wow, now that is so weird there at the last second. It's almost like the front bumper of the 23 of Hewlett hooks the back bumper of the 24 of DeSpirito and just flipped them up in the air. That was very odd. I believe it was a combination of Chuck McClure and Jessica Shelton that Garland Oaks landed on top of. Let's focus on the 17.
Right, the 24 car is still out there. He's definitely not going to be up to speed.
No, I'd be concerned about potential roof damage for the 17, maybe the 9.
That 003 car is on the racetrack again this week.
Second week for David Cannon. Chuck McClure kept going. I was trying to look and see if the roof was caved in. I really couldn't tell for sure. Let's focus on the 39, the gray ghost of Josh Metallic. Joe DeSpirito is right behind him, and I think Joe gets a hit from, I think it might have been Terry Bombard. That's what sends him over. There's Metallic going for a spin. I think you're right. I think Josh might be okay. Definitely not nearly the hit that he took around this point in last week's race when he spun down hard into the inside Armco barrier at Talladega and ended up finishing multiple laps down as a result, putting him in the situation he's in tonight. You talked about Jeremy Jeffries getting on the brakes there. Let's go on board with Tim Nofsker, see how he's able to get through this, because this was right in front of him. This is the Holly Farms Chicken 088.
Oh, more cars coming down pit road should turn the lead over to the 77 of Donnie Garrett. And hopefully, with no cars off the lead lap right now, that we won't have too many laps of caution.
Shouldn't. Didn't see him necessarily involved all that much in the wreck, but it looks like Mark Paglia is out of the race, our first retiree of the evening. Paglia, a two-time winner this season, made it into the playoffs, was 8th in the standings coming into tonight, got eliminated in the round of 8. So he will finish in the 40th position this evening. And a number of the drivers that got through that wreck when we were on board with Tim Nofsker are now up here at the front of the field. The 043 of Brian Lovell, the 88 of Grant Wesley, the 31 of Bernie Mobbs, and the 088 of Tim Nofsker, as well as the 63 of Keith Bynum, now all up here at the front of the field. Gained that track position, being able to avoid that wreck. But now it's going to be the question mark, right, Michael, when we end up having the restart of who actually is up to speed, because while Joe DeSpirito really took the biggest hit in that wreck, there were some hits that were dealt that maybe will cause aero damage, but then again, not sure. We're not 100% sure if those cars are going to be fully up to speed or not.
No, and that's what's going to be the biggest difference here. I mean, I'm like I said, the 39 spun. I don't know if he got enough damage that'll make him off the pace, but if those two that are in the muscle wing can capitalize off this, we'll see what can happen.
Another driver out of the race, Joe DeSpirito, with that wild ride down the back straightaway. He just had his number 24 pushed behind the wall to join Mark Paglia, so a tough break there for DeSpirito, former winner in the last couple of weeks. Was 9th, actually tied for 9th in the final season standings coming into this evening, and it looks like his season will come to a close here in the early going of tonight's finale, leaving us with 38 drivers left to settle this thing out. Everybody came down pit road under that caution. Nobody stayed out, so there won't be anybody off sequence if we end up having a long green flag run. Garland led the first 2 laps. Donnie Garrett has led the previous 4, now make it 5 as he crosses the line. And there you see the lights are off on the pace car, so we will get ready to go back green. Want to remind everybody that at the conclusion of tonight, don't pace the pass car. That is rule number 1. Do not pace the pass car. And no, we are not saying that incorrectly. That is the way that it is always going to be said now in our little group. Want to remind everybody that at the conclusion of tonight's race, when the checkered flag flies, we will crown ourselves a champion, but we're not done with RTG here in the year of 2024. We'll be back here again next Thursday night for the annual RTG Christmas race. You'll see these same Aero 88 cars at a winterized Michigan, and there's just bragging rights on the line in that one, and sometimes that makes the racing even more aggressive than when there's a championship or points on the line.
Are you saying Hig?
Not Hig. Nope.
Not Hig?
Michigan Nextel Winter.
Hig.
There's only one Hig.
Hig. But you will be here, but I won't be. I am taking somebody to go see Sonic 3 that comes out next Thursday.
Sonic 3 and Jim Carrey 2.
2 Jim Carreys.
That's what I just said.
Yep.
Did you see the posters that are going around of like every popular movie that's been released this year being renamed to Sonic 3?
No, actually, I haven't.
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
You'll have to send that to me so I can look at it.
If I can ever find it again.
All right, here we go. Off at turn number 4.
So Donnie Garrett going to be the leader. Richard Martin
and
second. Then
Jeff,
Brian Lovell.
You were correct earlier, by the way. The 21 does not have second gear.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Randy was going to start back in
Luigi.
21st. How about that? 21st for the 21 car.
Luigi.
So Garrett, Martin, Brian Lovell,
Luigi.
Wesley, and Mobbs going to be the top 5. Who did you add the Luigi onto that time?
I wasn't really adding. I was just saying Luigi because Luigi's up there somewhere.
What, has everybody got Luigi at the end of their name here tonight? Is it a special occasion?
And it's not Waluigi. It's just Luigi.
Well, okay.
I'll be quiet now.
No, don't do that. Whoa, Donnie Garrett. Saw the car bottom out right there. I think his left side's got on the apron.
Comes that STP Richard car to the lead.
Richard Martin, the most recent driver to win a championship without winning a race, won his championship by 1 point. We could see something like that here tonight. Only 4 points separating Jeremy Jeffries to Tim Knopfsker coming into tonight. It could come down to a single point once again. As checking on those two, looks like Knopfsker restarted in 5th. Jeremy Jeffries restarted in 19th. So right now we don't have live point standings, unfortunately, but Knopfsker, if the race were to end right now, would be your season 63 champ.
As great as that would be to just put in with the ticker.
That would be. The only thing with that, though, is you'd have to go through, like, putting in the exports and everything, and I don't really know if it would, if it would actually generate all of those numbers or not. Maybe.
We'd have to ask our boss. I'm sure he could figure it out. He's a little tech savvy.
Yeah. Grant Wesley went to victory lane recently. Finally broke back into... Huh?
Ulysses Grant?
No. Yeah, if we put the 96 and the 88 together, we have a U.S. president.
Former U.S. president. Sorry, I've been a history buff today, and all at work today, I was just listening to a 5-hour video of somebody who talked about every single presidential election.
You were that bored?
At work, yeah. Wasn't a lot of pizzas to be made or prep to be done, to be honest.
No.
Until I went to leave, and then everything hit the fan.
You could have joined me.
With what?
Completely emptying 2 storage lockers.
Well, I live here and you live there, so.
True. You could have at least called me and grunted when I lifted. That would have been helping at least.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Lift!
Lift!
I could have been Randy Newman from. Was it Family Guy? Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot.
So checking towards the rear of the field here.
You're checking the rear?
I'm checking the rear.
Why are you checking out the rear?
Because Glenn Harris is back there. I don't recall him getting much damage in that wreck. And yet he is currently nearly a full second behind Ulysses Sandoval, who is at the tail end of this pack. And he has lost the draft, has the Krispy Kreme Chevrolet. We'll hopefully get it back. All right, said reconnection successful. Apologies there. You missed the turn 4 to the tri-oval. And no positions changed. Martin continuing to lead. Grant Wesley in second. Knopfsker right now holding the 3rd position. So this is a good spot for Tim. He's got to obviously be aware of where the 1 car is in relation to his positioning. Knopfsker needs to finish at least 5 positions ahead of Jeffries tonight, not including bonus points for laps led, in order to claim the championship. And a lot of drivers are of the mentality that the safest place to be is at the front of the field. Well, our only caution so far tonight happened around the 2nd position off of turn 2 on lap 4, so I don't know how sound that theory really is.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out.
Donnie Garrett trying to lead that inside line. Right behind him is Greg Palmer. Palmer started this race from the 4th position and was up inside of the top 5 when that incident occurred off of turn 2. Spun down towards the inside wall. I don't believe he hit anything, but he lost track position. He's done a great job of gaining it back. Has cracked back up into the top 10. Last time by, unofficially in the 8th spot. And of course, as well, we talk about different drivers, different agendas here in this season finale. Obviously, everybody wants to get that final checkered flag, but also, if you don't win the race, you'd like to be able to finish the evening out with a podium or a top 5 finish. If you get a podium, not only do you get to talk with us up here in the booth post race, but it's some good momentum. It's a good mojo for next season as well.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby Farrell shading low, does not commit to it. He'll stay in line there behind Nofsker, that Petty Blue 92. And Dante Ricky, who's run a limited time schedule here this season, up there in the hunt, in that 5th position. Behind him, you got Jeff Crivello on that top side, Mike Mangialardi, Bernie Mobbs. It's been a while since he's been to victory lane, and Graham McDonald. Oh, Crivello up and into Mike Mangialardi, and we're going to have another big one, this time on the front straightaway through the tri-oval.
A lot of cars slowing down here.
McClure is spinning through the grass.
Brian Rawson, Doug Hewlick, David Cannon.
John Godfrey in the grass. There's Crivello again in the 36.
Not as big as the other one,
nope.
But it still took out some.
A lot of spinners, but I don't think there was a lot of hard contact. I think a lot of space there. Even the infield grass was utilized to avoid that being any worse than it possibly could have been. And again, up at the front of the field, Crivello was running around the 6th position at the time before he got out of shape. So that's 2 for 2 in the incidents occurring up inside of the top 10, if not inside of the top 5. And we were going to be, well, still about 8 laps away from when these drivers were going to have to, about 8 to 10 laps of when they'd have to start thinking about coming to pit road. However, this is kind of interesting in the fact that we're not that far away of when they would have had to make their first pit stop had we been green from the start. So we're about where we would be of these drivers having to make 2 more stops, being about 8 laps short on that final pit stop. So this doesn't change a whole lot in that regard. As looks like Mike Mangialardi going to stay out and lead a lap. Let's hop back, take a look at a replay of what brought out the 2nd caution of the evening, and we'll focus on the Quaker State Chevrolet of Jeff Crivello. Looks like a little bump there off the exit of the corner by Mike Mangialardi.
Wrong place, carrying a little bit too much momentum. Can turn a car sideways real quick.
Saw Graham McDonald get collected. Brian Lovell. Might have seen him there for a moment. The 39 of Josh Metallic did actually make his way through. We saw Chuck McClure in the grass. I think he might have actually been collected up in the follow-up wreck that was behind the initial contact. I also saw Graham McDonald, our pole sitter, involved, Brian Rawson. Let's jump back to that area, see if we can find out what led to the contact in that vicinity. I'm assuming this was all in reaction to what was happening ahead. Drivers scrambling to find a way to avoid. Yeah, they checked up there. Rawson into the back of Denny Carroll. Garland Oaks into the back of Rawson. And then right there, McClure's going through the grass to avoid. And he starts to feel the rear tires spinning. Back end wanting to come around. And he just couldn't hang on to it. Might have been the same deal for John Godfrey in the 7-Eleven. There's Pat McCarthy in the 197, making his first start of the night. Of the season, I should say. But again, very minimal contact made all around of all the drivers involved. Let's find the 7-Eleven of John Godfrey, see if we can find out what happened to him. He was on the inside line, fourth car on that inside line, just behind Brian Lovell, who we know was involved. Oh, Godfrey tried to go to pit road. And then he just was a little too hot coming into pit road to try to avoid the wreck. Drifted out into the grass and no grip there. Loops it around. Question is, did he get that thing woed up to pit road speed diving onto pit road like that? I don't know if he would end up getting a penalty or not, a black flag penalty, and I'm not certain if it will actually clear if he served it under yellow, but we'll find that out. As light's still on, and this is, okay, so how about this? We got to keep an eye on this one and squirrel this away. Tim Nofsker ended up winning the battle off of pit road, and as consequence, he just led that lap. So bonus point to the 088 for the championship. That now means that Jeremy Jeffries can finish 4 positions behind Nofsker, and Nofsker wins the championship. So at some point, do you wonder if maybe Jeremy Jeffries ends up playing the strategy to stay out and get a lap-led bonus point to counter that? As he's right now being scored back in the 14th position. So some gamesmanship here as we are closing in a third of the way through tonight's season finale. Nofsker versus Jeremy Jeffries. McClure Metallic trying to stay in the hunt.
Long shots, too. Let's not forget. Long shots,
sure.
but still mathematically eligible.
Nobody out of the race after that incident. So we'll have 38 drivers running and on the lead lap when we get ready for the restart. We're going to step aside for an FRN race break. You won't miss anything, and coverage will continue in just a few moments. We welcome you back to Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, working our second caution of the evening in tonight's season finale for season 63 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. Tim Nofsker, one of the championship hopefuls, out in front. Got himself a bonus point for leading the lap. He'll now look to maybe add another bonus point to his credit by leading the most laps, which would then have him only having to finish 3 positions ahead of Jeremy Jeffries. Right now, he only has to finish 4 positions ahead to claim the championship. Jeremy's going to start back in the 14th position. There you see him in that white and orange Goldfish Chevrolet. And then the other 2 championship competitors who have had their fair share of problems here tonight. McClure has been involved in both the cautions so far. Metallic has been involved in 1. But both of them going to be restarting pretty close up here to the top 10. Metallic's going to restart in 15th. Chuck McClure in 18th place. So those 2 drivers trying to find their way to the front. A lot of 8s up here inside your top 3. The 088 of Tim Nofsker, the 88 of Grant Wesley, the 84 of Dante Ricky. That's your top 3 here for the upcoming restart.
It's the 8 attack.
It's crazy 8s.
Aces and 8s.
They could have done so much more with that faction, and they didn't. But I digress.
I feel like they could bring that faction to the big company and do something with it too.
Yeah, maybe.
I heard that somebody's pitching the idea to bring back the Nexus, all the original members.
All of them?
Yeah.
I don't think they'd bring Ryback back. I don't think they would ever do that.
Go back to calling him Skip Sheffield.
Yeah. Well, Nofsker gives up the bottom, moves to the outside, and Dante Ricky says, thank you very much. He'll now go to the point. We'll see if he's able to clear Nofsker, if he'll jump up to that middle line. Third line is forming. These drivers, for the most part here tonight, have been pretty content to just run in the bottom 2 lanes. Nobody's really made a third line work, and Robert Breedlove, Kelly Causey, they tried something back there around the 16th position. Looks like they want to go up top there again. They might have tested the water to see if anybody was going to go with them. No takers. We'll see if anybody jumps to that third lane again, as Nofsker now with the momentum in that middle line. And the help from Grant Wesley will clear Dante Ricky barely into 3. Now Dante back. Oh, big wreck! That's Denny Carroll and a host of others.
Oh, you just had to jinx us.
Oh man, big hit. Robert Breedlove, Doug Cady, Kelly Causey. We've had a wreck everywhere tonight so far. Front straightaway, back straightaway, and now in the middle of the turn, which in my opinion is one of the toughest type of wrecks to avoid. And some big hits involved in that one. I do not believe any of our final 4 were involved. The closest would have been Metallic, but I believe even he got through unscathed. So that would be the first caution tonight where all 4 of our championship competitors were not involved. And Nofsker will pace us once again. A very quick yellow here, so it'll be interesting to see who comes down pit road and who decides to keep the track positions. Let's take it back to the replay, and believe the first car that gets out of shape in this one might have been...
I don't know.
I'm not 100% certain who the first car was that spun out. We'll try and pinpoint it here. Might have been the 33, maybe, of Graham McDonald? Let's see. Oh no, it was the 41 of Denny Carroll. And this may have been checkup going into turn 3 on that inside line. Watch here midway down the back straightaway how tight this draft is. No space from front bumper to back bumper. And the chain reaction, yep, right there. Denny Carroll drifts up the track a little bit. Donnie Garrett is into his left rear quarter panel. And there's that late shot right there for Doug Cady, Kelly Causey.
Is that a wreck on pit road?
And I was actually incorrect. Josh Metallic did spin around in that incident, so we have still, in all three of our yellows tonight, had at least one of our final four drivers collected up.
Can't see who it was that wrecked, but I know a birdie in my ear told me that there was a wreck on pit road.
Looking at Kelly Causey, a former winner on the season. Almost has it missed, and then right here, Doug Cady, Mike Mangialardi come back up the track. Brian Rawson, Bernie Mobbs. There's Carroll right side of your screen. I believe Randy Waugh was in it.
Luigi.
Let's follow the 39 of Josh Metallic, see how much damage he got in this. It might have been just a harmless spin. Into the back of the 21, and then right there, they're leaning on each other. Oh, gets clipped in the left rear by Mike Mangialardi. Sends him around. Doesn't look like heavy contact. He should be okay, but he had gained a ton of track position there. Was up inside of at least the top 15, and now he'll give it all back. Being involved in this, and that was a tough area of the racetrack for there to be a wreck, not only because it's difficult to know where drivers are going to migrate to, whether they drift down the banking or come back up to the outside wall, but also, until we get to 15 to go, it's frozen field cautions, so all those drivers back there, after they had completed their spins and gotten back going, they all had to figure out who was in what position, but I believe they've got that all sorted out. As Pat McCarskey going to stay out and lead a lap here. Actually, he's going to lead a couple of laps in that 197. Almost wonder if maybe he's planning on leading when we go back green. As more than likely, if it was just a one and done, lead a lap and dive to pit road, he would have dove to pit road already. Remember, it was only about, 2-3 laps since our last caution for the restart, so these drivers would not be absolutely desperate for fuel unless they're trying to maybe make it the rest of the way on one more pit stop, which, doing the math, is not possible. Looks like they would be... My math is correct. They would be about 9 laps short, looks like.
Huh. That'll be interesting.
No, it would be more than that. Hold on. 47. What's 66 minus 47? Come on, brain, work with me. 19 laps short.
That's a whole fuel run.
That is a whole fuel run, so they can one-stop it from here if they pit it under this caution. But they cannot make it the rest of the way, obviously. So Novsker at this point in time has the second most laps led. Richard Martin has led the most laps with 9. So Novsker, if he can lead another 4 laps, he would then get that extra bonus point for most laps led, or at least be in possession of it at that point in time. We're working our third caution of the night here. 37 cars still running. They're all on the lead lap, but we do have 3 drivers back in the garage area. David Cannon, the most recent retiree, will get credit for 38th. Joe DeSpirito also out of the race in 39th, and Mark Paglia was the first driver to head to the garage area. He'll get credit for 40th, as we had a full field here tonight. All 40 spots on the grid filled up. And a lot of points up for grabs here for not only our championship 4, but also for the remaining drivers in the round of 8, the remaining drivers in the first round from 9th down to 14th. Drivers actually set goals for themselves in that regard. If they end up getting eliminated in a round, they'll then try and finish the highest position possible they can in their respective round. And right now, Kelly Causey would be the highest of the drivers that were eliminated in the round of 8. 7 points up on Donnie Garrett. In the drivers that got eliminated at the end of round 1, it was actually a tie for 9th position coming into tonight between Jessica Shelton and Joe DeSpirito. DeSpirito out of the race. Next closest behind them was 52 points back, that being Terry Bombard. So it looks like Jessica Shelton will officially finish 9th in the final season standings here in season 63. Causey has, I believe, after that wreck, a lot of damage. That late hit between himself, Mike Mangialardi, and Doug Cady. So that will make it interesting between him and Donnie Garrett as to who's going to finish the season out in the 5th position in points. Bob Seminara's not that far back either. I believe he was only 17 points behind 5th in the standings coming into this evening, and he's up here inside the top 10, getting ready to restart in 7th. Let's give you an update on where your final 4 are going to be for this restart. Nofsker is going to be on the outside of the front row in 2nd. Chuck McClure is going to be back in 11th. Jeremy Jeffries in 9th. And Josh Metallic will restart in the 35th position. But I believe he actually came down pit road at the 1 to green to top off on fuel. That's Pat McCarskey going to lead us to the green in the 197. First start of the season. First laps led this season. And right in the thick of it with a number of former winners on the season in Nofsker and Wesley. Watching the 8 of Glenn Harris back there jump up to the outside line again. I wonder if maybe he missed a shift or lost a gear. And that's why we saw he had lost the lead pack early on in this race. He's tucked in line there now and looks like he's up to speed. So that might have been his issue on a restart, losing a gear and not being able to upshift quickly enough to stay in the draft.
And that's the one thing that sucks a lot about when it comes to races like that, because you don't get a good restart and you're going to lose the pack immediately. You know, it's if you don't have somebody behind you to help you kind of stay in that area, then you're just a sitting duck. And Seth, me and you have both been on that fair share of the stick many times.
Specifically when we have a 738 in front of us, but I won't go into detail too much on that one.
I mean, it's also
we love you, Matt, if you're watching.
You know, yeah, sure he is.
I totally didn't write an AI song about Matt McIntyre's restarts. Speaking of restart, this has been a pretty aggressive restart. Grant Wesley and Tim Nofsker both doing everything they could to get around Pat McCarskey. Wesley's been able to do so. Nofsker even looked like he was going to shade 3 wide to put the 197 in the middle. Now he'll ride behind McCarskey there.
Question is going to be who goes with him, and I don't think Nofsker wants to give up all that position.
And again, it's a delicate situation, right? Because if you're Nofsker, you want to get around that race car, but at the same time...
And Jeremy Jeffries just passed him.
Yes, he did. So now, let's keep
an eye on...
Now
he's really wanting to get past them.
Yeah, now let's keep an eye on the interval between the 1 and the 088, because...
There he goes.
Jeremy Jeffries, right now, would be 3 points ahead of Tim Nofsker. Now 4 points ahead. Now 5 points ahead with Chuck McClure making a pass there.
Wow, everyone's going around that car.
Karski stuck in the middle, in the sucker hole, heading towards the back. Nofsker clears around.
No.
Whoa!
Whoa! Josh Metallic's blown up.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And the caution's going to come out. Boy, what a horrible final round of the playoffs this has been for the former champion Josh Metallic. Badly damaged, less than 10 laps in last week in the first race of this final round. And now the engine lets go before halfway. 4th yellow flag of the night. And that will officially take Metallic out of the championship picture.
4th place in points.
He was the long shot coming in tonight, was 23 points below Jeremy Jeffries, and we talked about it. It was a must-win, needed a lot of help. It's not going to happen here this evening, so it's now down to a 3-horse race for this title. And we saw it happen there live, Michael. Jeremy Jeffries, for the first time tonight, took the championship away from Tim Nofsker. Nofsker had a stranglehold on it here in the first 30 laps or so, but now Jeremy Jeffries making that pass on the 088. All he has to do is finish ahead of Nofsker and he wins the championship. Bonus points wouldn't even come into play in that regard, and when that caution flew, Jeffries was 4th, Nofsker was back to 8th, and McClure going to stay out and get himself a lap-led bonus point. Every little bit helps, as he was 19 points to the deficit for that points lead and the championship coming into tonight. We'll go back, take a look at the 39 of Josh Metallic. See just exactly where on the racetrack that engine let go. When we panned back to him, he was off turn 4, heading to pit lane. Kind of running by himself here. Just a car length and a half behind Shelton. Car length and a half ahead of Kelly Causey. And then watch the back end of the car right there. Random NR blow up. And he tried to get that thing down to the inside of the racetrack to avoid a yellow flag coming out, but you see right there the flagman at the entrance pit road with the red flag saying pit road is closed. Caution flew at that point, and it will set us up for yet another restart. I want to remind everybody again that next Thursday night, join us right back here on FRN as we'll be bringing you coverage of the 2024 Rolling Thunder Gaming Christmas race. Aero 88 cars at Winter, Michigan. Should be a good one there. No points, no championship on the line, just bragging rights and a lot of Christmas cheer. And they'll be on the 19th, next Thursday night, right here on FRN. So Chuck McClure stays out, gets himself a bonus point for a lap led. Graham McDonald may have also stayed out there. Some other drivers up here that may have stayed out. May have also just gone with fuel only or right sides or something like that. Played a little bit of strategy. We'll see how everything cycles around to who the leader is. Could potentially be Bobby Farrell, and I'm looking to see where Grant Wesley came off of pit road. Scoring says he came off pit road in 16th. So either he had a very slow pit stop, maybe something happened on pit road, but I think it is going to be Bobby Farrell, or maybe Kelly Causey that'll be the leader when we go back green. And we'll find out the answer to that here in just a moment. We're going to step aside for another FRN race break, and we'll be back here as we've crossed into the second half of tonight's season finale here for Season 63 of the RTG Talladega Challenge Series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Oh, I'm going somewhere.
Getting ready to go back green here, and in the words of Bon Jovi, we're halfway there.
Oh my
33 of
God.
Graham McDonald going to get us back under green. Oh, you think that's bad? Michael, what do you get when you cross Living on a Prayer in September?
Oh, I am afraid to see where this is going to go, but I don't know.
Earth, Wind, and Bonfire.
I hate you.
Anyway, Graham McDonald and Donnie Garrett going to get us back under green. They're the front row.
Does
Robert Breedlove, who started
anybody who want to
shotgun on the
volunteer to come
field.
up here and take over my spot, please? It'd be great.
If you need Michael, he'll be in the little commentator's room. But Breedlove
crying
looking
my
to
soul.
pull off the last to first challenge tonight. Started shotgun in the field, restarting in third place. Bob Seminara in fourth, and Jeremy Jeffries now back to the top of the live point standings as he'll restart in the fifth spot. Rodney Sullins, highest he's been tonight, in the sixth position. Tim Nofsker right there behind Jeremy. They are bumper to bumper for this restart. He's seventh. Dante Ricky going to be eighth with Greg Palmer and Richard Martin. That is your top 10. Grant Wesley, who was the leader when this most recent caution came out. Ooh, big bump right there. And we're checking up and we're wrecking up. Graham McDonald,
boy.
Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
Keith Bynum back there, Cy Jones. Yellow flag and a wave once again.
Well, Seth, you really just had to go and jinx us, didn't you?
You picked a fine time to jinx me. No.
Something happened to Garland. It was Garland. He wasn't even really... I don't know. He just didn't go on the restart, or something happened.
A lot of smoke all through the field of drivers wheel spinning, trying to, I don't know if they were trying to anticipate, if they were all doing first gear restarts, but even up at the front, Graham McDonald nearly spun out after a big shot from Robert Breedlove. And I don't know, maybe that checked the whole field up or something?
No, look at Garland. He starts to go, and then he doesn't, and then he stops. And it's not really anything to do with checkup. I just think something happened. Maybe a gear shifter broke. Maybe his, I don't know if maybe he didn't shift properly or something.
Here's a look at it, focused on our pole sitter Garland. Oaks in that 67. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. He definitely did not get going. He's in... Oh. Hold up. Let's go back. Take a look at the replay again. I believe I have diagnosed the issue.
What's the issue?
Believe he upshifted to third. First gear at this point. Second and third. Yep. Too early an upshift there. There you see McCarskey, Cy Jones, Keith Bynum. There was another car down the inside. I believe it might have been Denny Carroll in the 41. I don't know if he was involved or if he just went down to avoid. But we're now under yellow for the fifth time here this evening. Getting closer to that target lap that these drivers are looking for, lap 47, 48, where they'd be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. And we're going to have a little gamesmanship here up inside of our top 10. Donnie Garrett, Bob Seminara, Rodney Sullins, late jump to pit road by Jeremy Jeffries, Nofsker right behind him. Graham McDonald and Robert Breedlove are going to stay out, throwing in the clutch, trying to save as much fuel as they can here under these pacing laps. Well, folks, we appreciate you tuning into our coverage, not only here tonight, but the entire season here in this season 63 of the RTG Talladega Challenge Series. Let us know in the YouTube chat who you think is going to win this championship. It's definitely looking like a two-horse race between Jeremy Jeffries and Tim Nofsker. Are you Team Goldfish or Team Chicken?
Chicken.
Holly Farms Chicken. What about you, Michael? You Team Goldfish or Team Chicken?
I don't really like goldfish.
Really?
Yeah, I've never eaten it before.
If I brought you goldfish when I come down to Florida in February, would you eat it?
No. My mom buys goldfish all the time, and I don't eat it.
Really? Is it the flavor? Is it just the texture?
I just don't really care for it.
It's just cheese flavored crackers, really, in a sense. Do you like Cheez-Its?
Nope.
Okay. Then that naturally follows then. Interesting. Are you somebody from Greenpeace who just doesn't believe on eating anything that looks like a fish?
No, I just don't. I just don't care
I'm
for like I
trying
don't
I'm
crackers and
trying
stuff.
to delve into the mystery here. Alright, so if you're team chicken, what type of chicken? What kind of chicken?
Any type of chicken.
Any type. I ended up seeing somewhere where there was a debate on what uh, restaurant chain has the best chicken, like chicken sandwiches or something. The only problem is I've only been to 2 places that have chicken sandwiches. That being Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. There's other places that I don't feel I'm qualified to give an answer on, like Raising Cane's, Church's Chicken.
Raising Cane's chicken is good.
Is it? They don't have any Raising Cane's up around my area at all. I don't honestly even know what the furthest north Raising Cane's franchise where that even's at. If I had to guess, probably somewhere, maybe Virginia. Because we know Raising Cane's is in Virginia, because we ended up having that. That was catered at Anthony's wedding in Richmond, so.
Well, we also had, and then I also had it again when we were in Ohio for that.
Oh, when you went to SummerSlam?
Yep.
By the way, I'll throw this out here while we're trying to kill some time here under pacing. If anybody's planning on going to the Daytona 500 this year, or the Indianapolis 500, and you'd like to meet up with your 2 favorite commentators here on Thursday nights on FRN, Michael and I will be at both events. Daytona in February, Indy 500 in May. So if you want to meet
Yep.
up, let us know. We're going to what? We're going to the duels, Truck, ARCA, Xfinity, and Cup races, I think, right? For that whole week
I
in
believe
Daytona?
so, yeah.
So yeah,
If we have enough money for it, which I don't think we should. If doing more research, like
I don't think we should have enough more money.
Should enough more money?
I English real good.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be that much. It just depends, you know. Like you said, can't spend too much if we're going to Universal and then potentially Disney Springs.
If we weren't supposed to overspend, the good Lord wouldn't have created credit cards.
Oh, that's on you.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. My parents asked what I wanted for Christmas. I said money for Daytona. So they said they would make a call for Santa and see if that would happen.
I think Santa's too busy signing autographs at the openings of Red 1. Looks a lot like J.K. Simmons, oddly enough. So you saw Bobby Farrell going around there to get his lap back. I don't know when Bobby lost a lap, but he is the recipient of the free pass. He was the only car 1 lap down under that yellow. So we'll have 35 cars on the lead lap and running when we go back green. Josh Metallic, obviously out of the race. Official reason of retirement is engine clutch for the championship hopeful.
I mean, we could always bring him up here if he's still in here. Ask him.
I believe he's still in here. Doug Cady also out of the race, though. He's going to finish in 36th position. Yeah, I believe Josh is in the middle of doing admin duties right now, so I don't know if it would be ideal to pull him up at this point in time. Especially, I think, now, because he's going to be doing a brunt of the admin duties with Nofsker focusing on this championship. Of course, as well, this entire season, we've had it dedicated to another person that was very much so in the admin duties of this specific series on Thursday nights, that being Wiley Coat. We've had his tribute decal on our broadcast every Thursday night. We, of course, have the Wiley Coat tribute pace card that's paced the field here the majority of the season. And it will make that left-hand turn to pit road here and get us back under green. Lap 40 will go on the board, so 27 laps to go in tonight's season finale. Usually when we end up having races like this, Michael, with a lot of cautions in the first half, there always seems to be that one point then where we go green to the end. Let's see if we've hit that point now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Graham McDonald, Bernie Mobbs, that's the front row. Doug Kulik, Mike Mangialardi, Denny Carroll, that is your top 5. All 5 drivers looking for their first win of season 63. Then a bunch of former winners behind them with Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Knopfsker, Bob Seminara. That's back to 8th with Rodney Sullins and Donnie Garrett. That was your top 10 on this 5th restart of the night. If you're following the battle for the championship, well, they're side by side. Jeremy Jeffries and Tim Knopfsker side by side there for around the 7th position. Knopfsker and the inside line, edge ahead, 2, 3, maybe 4 positions separating Knopfsker back to Jeremy Jeffries. And that inside line, it is moving. Denny Carroll now going to challenge Graham McDonald for the lead through the front straightaway trioval. Double checking here, Jeremy Jeffries has not led a lap yet tonight. Tim Knopfsker has been out in front for 6 laps, so he has at least 1 bonus point for a lap led.
1 car on pit road.
I believe that is Billy Elliser in the 26, who was issued a black flag on the restart. So having to serve that penalty under green flag conditions. He will more than likely fall a lap down, being out there all by himself. So just crunching the numbers here between Knopfsker and Jeremy Jeffries. With Knopfsker ahead of Jeremy, he needs to be 4 positions ahead of Jeremy Jeffries to take the championship. If Jeremy finishes 3 positions or less behind the 088, Jeffries would still take the title. And that last time by, Knopfsker was 4th, Jeremy was 9th. So Knopfsker by a couple points currently has the championship lead back. As we got a wreck in the middle of the pack, I believe that was Chuck McClure and Brian Rawson. Another big one going into turn 3. Caution will fly for the 6th time tonight.
That's very strange. I just got a whisper saying, well, they're not done wrecking, as Jessica is upside down and flipping.
Field's going to come around here. That's a big break for Billy Elliser. He'll stay on the lead lap. There's Breedlove, Glenn Harris, Brian Rawson. There's Shelton on pit road.
She had to call a tow truck because she was stuck upside down.
17 in the 6.
Buddy,
a couple of
your
Roush
channel.
numbers.
Okay,
We're the first car
that
there.
happens. Hey guys.
You didn't fly up into the catch fence to visit us this time,
No,
huh?
no, but Michael suggested that if it was just, you know how the night's been. So Michael just made a suggestion, and I said, okay.
We'll jump back, take a look at the replay here.
Yeah, to me it looked like people were second guessing leading up to it, like the lap before. There was a point where there was a couple of guesses on the backstretch between middle, high side, and finally when we got online, then people were opening little holes that were there. Chuck tried to get in the hole, then I guess someone backed up and then didn't back off. I couldn't tell from where I was, and then, just boom, 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 boom.
It's a pretty good assessment. It's almost looking like Chuck tried to tuck down behind Greg Lovell, and Greg checked up, and that closed the hole up really quickly.
Yeah, and then everyone behind trying to check up at the last second, and then they just get hit from behind. It's one of those accordion effects.
Here's from the aerial view. Watch the 17 try and go low here in the car right there. There's the check up there. Keith Bynum checking up Greg Lovell. And what was a full car length of space all of a sudden became a half car length of space very, very quickly.
So how's it going up here?
It's going good. I mean, this championship battle, it's been close. It's been back and forth between Nosker and Jeffries.
So where are we at championship-wise? Because I've been back there, I haven't been up there, so I don't know what's going on.
I'd have to look and see where the positioning is, but I think like the last time when I was looking live, it was 2 or 3 points to Novsker.
So Novsker's got the point at the moment. Do we? Oh, there's a incident on pit road here. It looked like the 4-3 of D-Moore was spun out back there. I don't know what happened with him. But anyway, does anyone know how many laps anyone's led tonight, like between them, or what?
Novsker has led 6 laps, but that's not been the most, and Jeremy is yet to lead a lap. So one bonus point would go to Novsker if it came down to a tie.
Well, we got about, what, 20 some odd laps here left to go, so yeah it's starting to heat up.
We're going to get the restart now, probably lap 46, 47. That's around, what, 19, 20 to go. So
yeah, you got to remember,
maybe
a full tank,
last time we're on pit road?
Maybe. A full tank is about 19, 20 laps, and what I was showing before that wreck was can and a half to can, going back and forth because I was right there on the cusp. But this right here, you know, you couldn't get to your fuel window, so I'm not sure what it does for the drivers at the moment.
So, a couple of observations I was seeing here in this race. One of them, kind of interesting, very timid drivers of going up to that third lane. There's been a couple of times that 2 or 3 drivers seem to shade up there and then immediately jump back down to the bottom. Is the third line just not there, or is just nobody's committed to making it work?
Well, early on, when I was up to full speed, I noticed that the third line was working and they were moving, but they had the numbers, I believe, and I think the middle line was still kind of like had like maybe 8 or 9, then all of a sudden it went down to 7 and 5, because everyone was like darting back and forth trying to pass specific individuals, I guess, and I guess it just depends on how many is in the middle versus on the outside who actually can get together, because the numbers, I believe. And then we got some damaged cars in between, and you know how they don't want to give up position, but if they got to run, they think they can get the spot, they're going to take that option. And, you know, lately it's been dying out a little bit.
And Michael and I, we were talking about it at the top of the night. Obviously, a full field, 40 cars this evening. 4 drivers gunning for the championship, 36 drivers. They just want to end the season with a checkered flag. So we were wondering if a lot of drivers are going to kind of treat this like the first race of the season, a checkers or wreckers type thing. Is that why we've been seeing so many yellows? Have you felt that kind of aggressiveness in the field tonight? Or has it just been, since it's a big bunch of cars, there's been a lot of mistakes, a lot of room for error?
Now, there's a lot of room for error at the moment. There's a lot of, you know, drivers that are pretty good. They're just being... You know, what was it, a few races back where we had a race that, you know, you were like, it's an elimination race. What's going on with these guys? Why aren't they being that aggressive, you know? It's like, where's the aggression gone? Well, I think it just came back. I think they just took a night off. I think they took a night off and now it's back.
Let's pick a heck of a time to do it here.
Oh, yeah.
With the championship hanging in the
balance.
balance.
Well, don't forget, too, we haven't really talked about this. We haven't even mentioned it all season, and I know I haven't been part of the broadcast, but I've gone back and watched them, and we also got to remember, this isn't just for the championship. This isn't just for, you know, position and points and all, getting a win. This, you know, if you win a race, you're automatically locked into the All-Star race, which is right around the corner, too, coming up in a few months. So there's that, too.
Automatic lock into the main event. You don't have to race your way in the open.
And Lord knows how many people are going to be in that.
And so far this season, we haven't really had any, I'll call it surprises. Like there's been a lot of former winners that have gone to victory lane, a lot of former champions that have gone to victory lane. You know, last season we had Brian Rawson get his first career win. A couple of seasons before that, Keith Hughes ended up getting his first career. We haven't really had that underdog Cinderella story as of late. Maybe it happens tonight, but and again.
Yeah, and don't forget, since the All-Star in the spring, I think Doug Hewlett's gone to victory lane too.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually looking. There's quite a few drivers that are going to be restarting up here that have never won and have had long winless streaks. Elliser, Denny Carroll, Graham McDonald, I believe they're all looking for their first career wins. Been a long time since we've seen Rodney Sullins go to victory lane. You mentioned Doug Kulik, he's up here. This was the track where he got his first career win several seasons ago.
Yeah,
Got
but
lucky with
I
the
don't.
timing of a yellow, but
But I don't think pit road is going to play a factor coming out on this one.
probably not. I mean, we're going to get the restart here with 20 to go. It's close, right? If you're middle of the pack, rear of the field, able to save, you're probably good to go. But if you're up here at the front, I don't know how much saving you can really do. If we get a yellow, it's completely
Alright,
academic.
I do want to point out I got confirmation from one specific individual, and I asked how the fuel scenario is. Tight. It's tight. I'm not stopping anymore. I can't, but it's tight.
Oh boy.
This is going to be interesting.
It's like, according to him, it's like right there on 19 based on what we're looking at. Just think about that. It's really tight, so they got to play. You got to play hardball now.
Any future cautions, pretty likely nobody's coming to pit road outside of repairing crash damage.
Yeah, they can probably clutch and save it then.
Just me, you and Seth, we all know how to save fuel on at a plate track.
Yeah, you run 20 miles per hour in a pack together.
Yeah, Seth and I know how to do it, but Michael, I don't think you know how to do it. I mean, you're too busy going 90, 100, or whatever. Seth and I are going like 20 miles an hour. Where are you at?
Michael still needs to learn the art of hot pitting before he can save fuel.
I still remember.
Okay, Mercurio,
my
calm down.
specific race where literally we were going 40 miles an hour.
All right, we're going back to green here.
Getting ready for the restart. Billy Ellisert going to be the one to bring us back here.
Now, Billy.
20 laps to go here in the finale. Nofsker on the outside of that front row. Jeremy Jeffries is about 6 cars back in that outside line, so pretty commanding points lead right now for Nofsker in the live standings for the championship.
Now, I'm watching this mid to back here. There's a lot of drivers. There's a few drivers no first gear, no second gear, which I reported through Michael, and you know that's what caused one of the cautions was someone mentioned that they didn't have second gear and someone hitting whoever, and then you know what happened after that. But yeah, so we got to be very careful here as they get up to speed coming off this corner. You reckon we'll see that third lane try to come back into play with Jeremy? Because it looks like Jeremy's got like a little bit of his car darting out with Demar there.
The lap's ticking away. I feel like you gotta, right? You can't ride in line. You gotta make something happen, and
especially with where Tim is. I mean, come on, Tim's right there.
Yeah, and Jeremy does not have a lane to the inside to try and go forward. So I think you're right. I think he has to try jumping to that third line and hope that some other drivers are gonna go with him. We've seen when that third line forms, then the middle line stalls out.
Oh! There goes Palmer.
I don't think that's gonna bring out a yellow. I think we're gonna stay green.
Yeah, it's off the racing surface. But yeah, I saw Donnie make a move, and then all of a sudden Palmer, I don't know if they checked up and Palmer got turned or what caused that one specifically. I just know that there's a little bit of movement going.
Greg was 10th last time by. That's the second time tonight that Greg has been involved in a spin to the inside wall while riding up inside of the top 10.
We made a little joke earlier about that. How's my driving? Call 1-800. And that was when he actually avoided a wreck, I believe, where he actually got involved in the wreck. I'm not really sure which one it was. But, Michael, you were trying to make a conversation about fuel? Well, what was it earlier that I kind of cut you off on?
Oh, no, it was just the fact that it was my race a while ago where we were all just going 40 miles per hour at Talladega in the corners because we were that close on fuel.
Boy, lessons learned from drafting duos.
Yep, exactly.
Right? As we see right now, 10's got the lead back, so, I mean, that gives him plenty of room, but just one small move of blocking, that could just screw him over at the end, but we just got to make sure, because like we said, Jeremy hasn't led yet, so there's that point that Jeremy wants, and Jeremy's, just a few cars back, but I don't know exactly how this is going to play out with 10 leading like this in that single file lane in the middle right now, so it's going to be a little bit for that bottom gets back to him.
And there's definitely enough laps. Most laps led tonight so far. Graham McDonald with 10. That was the 8th lap led for Tim Nofska, so if he can keep them single file behind him and lead the next couple 3 laps, then he would take the bonus point for most laps led, which would then make it where he would only have to finish a total of, I believe, 3 positions? No, 5 positions.
Third lane. back here.
ahead of Jeremy Jeffries.
Third lane with Brian Lavelle on the top here with John Godfrey and Denny Carroll.
John Gilbert Godfrey.
But now Jeremy goes to the bottom. I do want to point out something though. I was reported. I heard one individual tell me it was tight on fuel. Now the question I have is, Tim Knobsker, how tight is he on fuel? And he's leading this, so
Yes.
he's using up a little bit more with CTS physics.
That's
so
a great point.
if he randomly runs out or anything off with turn 4, Jeremy's right here to capitalize. But if Tim goes down to that bottom lane and Jeremy's down there, then it's going to be a little bit of a blockage. And Jeremy, all he's got to do is pretty much go straight on. If Tim loses like what 8 or 9 positions, it's over, isn't it?
Yes. I believe as of right now, if Jeremy passes Novsker in any way, shape, or form, even by 1 position, it's Jeremy's championship.
Listen, we saw the way that this season started out, Seth. There's no way we couldn't finish it that way either.
Brian Schilling on fumes? Yeah, maybe a little deja vu tonight.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I actually miss Schilling. I don't know where he's at.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too. Not in the field here, not on Monday nights either. Don't know where he's at, but if you're watching, Brian, we miss you. That third lane you were talking about, Jess, it's now up here.
Yeah, they're probably going to dart down to the middle. See, Jeremy goes to the middle line now. I don't know if that was a smart move here.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
He's got to come back down. Is he going to get time? I don't know. Godfrey's going to pass him here.
I'm not sure what he was going for there. Whoa! Bynum up into Greg Lovell, and we're going to have another wreck, this time off of 4. Chuck McClure involved.
And this will eliminate the fuel strategy issue here.
Yes, it will.
But we are racing back.
Jeff Crivello collected up in that one. Garland Oaks, I believe, was in it.
We are going to have a restart. It's more than 10 to go.
That looked like a bit of a netcode / lag issues.
Is it just me or is Michael really quiet, like he's talking into his pillow?
He's in a cave.
I'm in a cave, and I don't know why it does that.
His microphone has 3 stages. Either he's in a cave, or he's normal, or he's a rock singer.
Yeah, where it's like right up. I don't know how to fix that, to be honest.
So is he the rock singer where you can't understand him no matter what? Or is he a rock singer where you can actually understand him and he sings really good?
It's just that the volume, like, is
loud.
3 times the normal volume. With no warning. Let's take a look at what happened here around Keith Bynum and Greg Lovell. That third lane was moving, but there may have been a little checkup. Bumpers are very close here. Bynum slides up the track a little bit. Might have just gotten hooked in the left rear quarter panel. Big hit for Chuck McClure, and then watch Denny Carroll and Jeff Crivello full force front end into that inside wall. Randy Waugh goes for a spin as well. Garland Oaks.
Randy Waluigi.
That brings out the yellow flag, and as you alluded to, Jess, no longer a concern for fuel. I mean, that was the caution Tim Knobsker needed. Because if this thing had continued to run green and he was going to find himself even half a lap short, this now allows him to be able to save to make it the rest of the way. But I'm a little perplexed by that move to the middle line by Jeremy Jeffries.
I just had a conversation. I'm having a private conversation on one end, so I'm sorry if I didn't hear what you said, Seth. But we're actually having a discussion over a whisper at the moment about that choice that Jeremy made to go in the middle. I'm wondering if Jeremy had 2 options in his mind. Either 1, go in the middle and hope someone follows you, or 2, maybe go back a little bit and try to save a little bit of fuel.
We've seen him do that before.
But now you can't do that now, can you?
Nope. I think it was, I want to say it was last week when it was close
on field. Yeah, he's done that before. He goes up to the high side or he moves out of the way and lets everyone go by so he can save fuel and latch on toward an opening a little bit further back. And the further back you are in a line, the easier it is to save fuel and the more fuel you can save. You're up front or near that front, people are pushing a lot harder to try to get you to that front. so you don't save that much more fuel like you need to. So maybe that's what Jeremy was thinking. I'm not really sure.
This has been an interesting Final Four. Obviously, it got shooken up last week with that first race. A couple of the
With
drivers
Josh,
with
yeah.
misfortune, Chuck in the speeding penalty, Josh involved in the wreck. But it's interesting when you looked at this Final Four coming into this championship hunt, Jeffries, Knopfsker, McClure, and Metallic, because you usually every race would find these four nose to tail working together. Here tonight, none of them have been hooked up to each other because they know at this point they're frenemies. You know, they'll work together in another situation, but when the championship's hanging in the balance, I'm not working with you. I'm going to the opposite lane that you're in.
Can I ask you a question off topic real quick?
Sure.
So I was scrolling through people's cars, right?
Uh-huh.
And I landed back on Palmer's car with the butt paste sponsor as his little joke or whatever. And I just got a little nostalgia in my mind here.
I think I know what it is.
Tommy?
Tommy. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's
too.
what I was wondering. Is this a nod to Tommy in any way, or is it something else?
I don't believe so. But immediately that's what my thought went to as well, was Tommy Bordeaux.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So now we're going to re-rack them. We're going to have about, what, 10 or 9 laps to go when this caution light goes out, Seth. And we've got a little bit of aggressive people here at the front that know how to get it done and know how to win. And master blockers up here, too. So we got to wonder, are they actually going to be able to mind their P's and Q's, or how aggressive are they going to get here at the end of this?
We've only had one caution period where there's been a driver a lap down, and that was when Bobby Farrell got the free pass. No lucky dogs here. All drivers still running on the lead lap, so that does push the target
What
lap.
are you talking about?
Well, yeah.
I was on the lead lap until Michael had to say something.
True. There are actually 4 other drivers that have also gone to the garage here that we haven't documented. Denny Carroll, Jeff Crivello, Brian Ross, and Robert Breedlove after that most recent yellow. But with there being no lap down cars, that does push that target lap of our point of no return to the completion of lap 62 rather than completion of lap 61. So it does give us a little bit more opportunity if we do end up having another yellow between now and then where we get yet another restart.
Yeah, then that one would be probably a I want you to have eyes up at the front because I ain't gonna look back there no more.
It's all gonna happen up inside the top 10.
So off topic, another little thing off topic here. RTG said, and I told Michael this. I don't know if you announced it or not. They will return with their next season in January, the week of January 6th is when they're coming back. So until then, we have that special event. I don't know if you want to plug that or not.
We've plugged it a couple of times already.
Okay, for the December 19th race. Okay.
Yep.
Other than that, I mean, it's been a really interesting season, that's for sure. Because we've seen a little bit of it all. New winners coming up and down, and then you've got old people, like, I don't mean like old people like you. I mean old.
No, I think she means old people like you, Seth.
Wow. Anyway, I'm talking like people like, you got Josh, who, when was the last time he was in the Final Four? Like a few seasons back, and we ain't seen him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we've got gosh, I just lost his name. You got the defending winners Chuck, and you've got, believe it or not, Tim. Jeremy's like, where's Seminara? Where's the Spirito? Where's you know what I mean? All these guys like Rodney, Grant, like what? They didn't make it? No, they didn't advance. Like, it's really amazing that these guys who were so dominant, that's what happens when you get a huge competitive field with really good drivers. It's like, it's different now. I mean, back in the few months back, what was it, Seth? We pretty much had an idea who was going to go to the final 8 and not final 4.
We kind of would call Sherlocks, yeah.
Yeah, and this one has been a little bit of a loop fest, I would imagine.
Definitely has. We ended up having a number of drivers snap winless streaks here this season with Bob Seminara, Ken Roberts, Knopfsker ended up snapping a long winless streak. Metallic snapped a long winless streak. Drivers that, we're used to seeing, if not win, point their way up into the playoffs. But some drivers had about 6 months since their last win. Other drivers had upwards of 2+ years since their last victory. So, like I said, we haven't had an underdog story really yet this season, but we did have a lot of lengthy winless streaks that got snapped.
Godfrey either won this year or last year,
Yep,
or last
last
season.
year.
I mean, so.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, it's been kind of a little bit different up and down the past couple of seasons. As we're about to hit the trial with something, get ready to go green. We're going to have what 10 or 9 laps
10
to go
to
here.
go. Novsker out in front. Now again, remember, Novsker has led a lap. He currently holds the bonus point for most laps led. So, he would only have to finish a total of 3 positions ahead of Jeremy Jeffries now to claim the championship. Jeremy needs to get up there at least 2 cars behind the 088 or past the 088 to take the points lead and the championship back.
I'm watching back here. There's a big gap where Randy Y is based on him not having the second gear. So with that being said, most of these drivers back here are going to be really hectic to get position. Chuck's doing everything he can. He's got Mike, the M guy.
Double M.
Yeah, and Terry Bombard. They're trying to make up some time here. I mean, it sucks when you ain't got that gear, and we're going 3 wide and 3. Who is that? That Palmer and Godfrey up there. Dante's peeking, and we know Dante. Dante is always a threat when he's actually in these races. So.
Sandoval's up there now. Bynum. There goes Wesley. There goes Martin. Kind of a monkey see, monkey do in that middle line. All jump into that third lane. At the front, Bob Seminara aggressively getting around Tim Nofsker on that inside line.
Yeah, here
He's
we
going
go.
to the point.
Whoa,
oh, Donnie Garrett! Can he save it?
save
No,
it?
he cannot. Oh my gosh, that's another huge impact. McCarskey's in it. Causey, Farrell. Here comes Terry Bombard. Now McCarskey's up and over.
Tim's dropping, Seth.
This is race back. That's a great point. We'll jump back up here to the front. Watch this race back to the line. Nofsker has lost position to Jeremy Jeffries, who's now ahead of him. We will get another restart here. It will be around the point of no return. And here comes Demar with a run to the outside. We might have a photo finish here coming to the yellow.
Fine, making it 3 wide up here. He's trying to get a position.
Not going to get a whole lot of help there as Seminara will hang on, maybe half a car length over Richard Martin. But that could be shades of what we'll see racing back to the proverbial checkered in just a little bit.
That's going to make things way more interesting.
Where's Tim Cross at?
Scoring has not updated now. It has 9th. 9th for Nofsker, 4th for Jeremy.
Well, now, the one thing you got to realize is, we remember when this track debuted, Seth, everybody wanted the bottom.
Yep.
Then it came to a point where the middle line became more like the Talladega races where you wanted to be in the middle all the time. Then it was flip-floppy back and forth. The third lane and the bottom was great, etc. Now, the past few races, I've noticed that it's doing that again, starting to do it again with the flip-floppy, but the inside lane, in my opinion, has not really been exactly the strongest like it should be. I honestly keep seeing the middle line and the bottom kind of even out. Middle line gets a little bit more of a run than the bottom. But now, if Jeremy is caught on this bottom, I know he's right now up here labeled in the 4th position. If he gets caught on that bottom any way, shape, or form, or even in the middle of a 3 wide position, I think he's in jeopardy if Tim's on that high side, no matter what.
Could very well be, and it's interesting you bring up that point about the inside line not really seeming to be all that strong as it has been in the past. This is, as we look back at some more angles of this incident, this is at least the 3rd time tonight that the caution has occurred due to a push gone wrong going into the corner due to checkup on that inside line. It's looking like drivers may also be realizing that in order to be able to get the inside line to move against the middle and the third line, you gotta shove, but they're not really timing those shoves correctly into the entry of the corner.
And not only that, you got people kind of entering a little bit higher or a little bit lower, and then it kind of messes up the apex and the exit where they want to push up a little bit more, and then when they try to get lined back up, one driver is a little bit out of line too, and that can cause a little bit of a bumper grab, or they try to come back down, they have to back off and allow that driver to try to get himself situated, and that just causes another little bit of a stack up. So they got to really be paying attention on these last few laps, so we're going to go green again.
Saw that wild ride for Pat McCarskey on his side for a good portion of the back straightaway before getting back on all 4 wheels. Billy Elliser, Terry Bombards with some pretty big hits, Garland Oaks as well. So we're going to have some damaged goods at the rear of the field here for the upcoming final restart. But this is kind of reminding me a bit of last week, where we ended up seeing a good battle in the closing stages between a couple of drivers that hadn't been to victory lane for a while. Grant Wesley able to hang on. Up here at the front, we saw that move there by Bob Seminara to take the lead from Tim Nofsker. Different drivers, different agendas. Bob's saying to Tim, hey, I know you're battling for a championship, but hey, I want the checkered flag here. I know that you've got a lot more to lose than I do. I'm going to be aggressive, and you can kind of weigh the pros and cons of whether battling me is going to be good for your championship hopes or not.
It goes back to what you and I always had fun talking about whenever we would race together, Seth. And, you were a lap car, or some other drivers were kind of in the way and they wanted to get around you or whatever. What was that old saying? Well, they want to go around me, they can do it the hard way because I'm not moving, number one. And number two, they got 2 other lanes to go to. I'm picking this lane.
Well, he now got Jeremy Jeffries, so line up in 4th. Nofsker got shuffled back to, it looks like, 9th. For those 2 drivers, honestly, I wouldn't plan on winning this race. Because you look up here, Seminara, who's looking for his 2nd win of the season. Richard Martin, who hasn't won in a long time.
I agree. Right now,
I believe he's looking for his first win of his career. All these drivers here, they could care less about what the agenda is for the 1 in the 0-8. They want to win.
I think Tim's mind is, all I gotta do is finish right behind Jeremy, and I've got this.
That's right.
I've got it. I ain't got nothing to worry about. Jeremy's just hoping that the 3rd lane doesn't happen and that people stay with him here.
As of right now, Nofsker would have to pass Jeremy in order to be able to claim the championship.
Really? I thought he'd be like right behind him based on that extra point.
If he finished 1 position behind Jeremy, points would give the advantage to Jeffries by 2 points.
Really? Even with the laps then, the most laps?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
Yep, he has to finish ahead of Jeremy. And he has to finish ahead of him by 3 positions. If he finishes ahead of him by 2 positions, then it goes to a tie, and I don't even want to try and figure out how the tiebreaker takes place.
I'm not sure if it's going to be like this round or the overall playoffs or the overall season.
Yeah, does it come down to wins? Does it come down to average finish in this round? I don't know if there's ever actually been a clear indicator of what the tiebreaker is.
Stop. We've seen it all. We don't need you jinxing and causing more calamity up here. According to Michael, that's all you've been doing.
We in this 2-race final round, we have had the championship come down to 1 point. We've never had it be a tie, though.
Yeah, but Michael keeps saying about the commentator's curse and the jinxing and all that mess. He said that you technically, I'm not going to say specifics here, but technically with the way this race has gone, you kind of jinxed it.
I may have said this could have been a caution-free race, potentially.
And someone's a little bit tired, too, ...
And we're working our 8th caution, so that shows that I'm
not talking about the caution. I'm talking about everything you've done today.
Who was it? I think it was my broadcast colleague Scott Rankin said to put away the crystal ball. I think that's what I need to do tonight.
Well, even though a lot of people mention about cautions and all, etc., and give it like negative feedback, yes, we understand that, but at the same time, would you rather have a championship race put any other way with no aggression and no drama and no action? Because honestly, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, we know what the fans tune in for. They like the drama. They like seeing the strategy.
No. That one loyal fan that always pops on. I think that one loyal fan, I think she wants to see Rodney win this race.
It could happen.
Sullins, maybe.
It could happen.
He's right there, 7th place on this restart.
And he was up near the front a little bit, so, I mean, Rodney hasn't had the best issues happen lately, but now he's up there, so anything's possible, Seth.
All right, so we are going to get this restart.
Yep.
Past the point of no return. So we'll give that usual disclaimer for one final time this season. If trouble breaks out, we stay at the front. We watch the race back to the start-finish line, whether they're racing back to the caution or racing back to the checkered flag if they're able to make it around to take the white. We'll go back, we'll look at any necessary replays either during the final pacing laps or post-race, but we will stay up here at the front of the field until the official race-ending flag.
You know, you just gave me an interesting thought scenario.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's your fault for doing this, by the way, Seth. And Michael, it's your fault for egging him on. So imagine, okay? Jeremy and Tim both get too aggressive with each other and they wreck each other. And then it's like, who was that fault? I don't know.
Well, there's also
That
another
would be
scenario.
interesting, wouldn't it?
Chuck McClure's running the 15th position. There are still 30 cars running, so mathematically, if Jeremy and Tim finish outside the top 25 and Chuck could finish in the top 5, he still could have a shot at winning this championship. So it still ain't over in that regard.
Wow, so Josh is completely gone. Wow, you just don't even look at him anymore.
I'm just saying, there's always still a chance when it comes to super speedway racing.
Whoa, Randy Waugh around.
That would probably have to be the gear problem. Oh, Billy Ellison's
Yep.
going around. Are we still
Caution.
green?
Caution, Seth.
Caution's out, so this is the race back to the checkers. Martin on
This
the
is
top,
the championship.
Seminara on the bottom. Where does Nofsker go? He's pinned on the inside line.
Who's going to have the better run? Trying to get up to speed. You figure the inside lane will have the better run, but the 43 on the outside, the one going to try to make it 3 wide.
Here comes Nofsker on the bottom. He might be able to get alongside Jeremy. He gets up into Ulysses Sandoval. They're going to be side by side with Martin in the middle. Seminara going to cover both lanes off of 4. Covers Lovell on the high side, Wesley on the bottom. Coming back to the checkered flag, it's going to be Bob Seminara's second win on the season. It's close between Nofsker and Jeremy Jeffries, but I think they may have finished one position apart.
3 spots ahead, yep, 3 spots ahead.
Or was it actually 3?
The 088's in 5th, the 1 is in 8th.
It's saying that Jeremy Jeffries has officially crossed in 8th place. Tim Nofsker, 5th place. So I guess that basically means what you're saying, that our championship leader is now our championship winner, and that would probably be Nofsker based on what we're looking at.
By 1 point. Now here's the one thing that I am kind of wondering about. That follow-up wreck was contact between the 088 and the 96.
Are you talking about the last caution here?
The last, not the incident that brought out the yellow, but there was contact over in 3.
I mean after the caution came out?
After the caution came out. And Nofsker was in the vicinity. So, post-race review might be very interesting. Unofficially right now, Nofsker by 1 point would have the championship over Jeremy Jeffries, but
I'm looking at what the thing was here.
We'll go back and we'll take a look at it too here as well, because this could have championship implications. Seminara's going to come around and receive 2 laps to go. Let's go back and we'll first take a look at what brought out the yellow. This was at the rear of the field, looked like another restart issue. Randy Waugh was spun. Jess had already documented and relayed the information that he had been down a gear. Slow on the restart. I think he got a bump potentially from Kelly Causey.
Kelly Causey, but yeah, I don't really know if Kelly Causey had a whole bunch of people on him pushing at that point that caused that. You never know at that point with the speeds.
Well, even Randy Waugh was checking up for Chuck McClure, so that made his restart even worse. And then there you see Elliser going around. So this brought the yellow flag out. Let's now jump up there to the 088. Let's watch here and see the contact between him and the blue and white car to his outside, Ulysses Sandoval, as they head down the back straightaway. The contact's going to be over here in 3.
I hate
Sandoval
to say
goes
it,
to
but
the
it looks
middle.
like, okay, Seth, in my opinion, if you ride on the far chase and look at Ulysses, it looks like at the very last minute, Ulysses might have been coming down a little bit while Nofsker was pushing up in that corner.
I think I completely agree with you. We'll get an aerial view, but from that camera shot, I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah, Ulysses coming down to try to make the corner a little bit tighter to stay in the drafting position. You know, the tighter you are, the more pins you put down on your opponent on the bottom, the better chance you have at holding that position. I think that's what Ulysses was trying to do. And Tim, when in the corner, I think he just got a little bit tight and pushed up and barely got him while Ulysses was coming down. So I honestly don't see any fault with what
I would be
Nofsker did.
very surprised if that gets called as a post-race EOL on Nofsker.
Yeah, I agree.
And there you see Nofsker just barely ahead right there. Look at how close Jeremy Jeffries was to getting that spot from John Godfrey, less than a wheel. And that would, if he had been able to nip the 7-11 there at the start-finish line, that would have been a tie for the championship.
I want to point out something, though. Didn't we say a little earlier that people have been returning to victory lane a little bit more often? Seminaire, I think he's already had one earlier in this season, and now he's coming back to get a multi-time win, I believe, this season.
He's got that new internet. I'd watch out for this guy now.
And then, think about last week. Joe won, and now here comes Seminara winning. The Florida gang seems to be pretty much back in business.
I think you're right. Big thing for them back before we had the random qualifying draw was they seemed to qualify up at the front every week so they could stay at the front. Now the random qualifying draw, they had to shake their strategy up a little bit. But to your point, I think they found their mojo again. Donnie Garrett has looked good in the races this season.
I do want to give a really complimentary shout out here. You got D-Mar, who finishes 6th. Brian Lovell has got 4th. Rodney in 3rd. Yep. I mean, look at these guys. You know, they've been having some issues here and there, but like, you know, Rodney's had personal, and D-Mar's had a few personal things go on, and Brian Lovell, hasn't really been up at the front too much for talking at these finishes of these races, but lately he's kind of started making his presence known, and Rodney's up here, and like I said, D-Mar's up here. I mean, you couldn't ask for, you know, better evening unless they won the race.
It's not a win, but this is the first podium that Rodney has scored in a long time, so this could be some good momentum for next season. The white flag was displayed that last time by for Bob Seminara, and this time by he will see the checkered flag. He will join the multi-win club here in season 63. You see Tim Nofsker a couple cars behind. The 088. He's going to go back to championship victory lane.
Rodney's going to win this race. He says, no, I'm going to win this.
I still can't believe how close the championship battle came down to.
It's the second time since the inception of the 2-race final round that the championship has come down to 1 point. A lot of people, you know, kind of wondering, is it going to be a close points battle when you have 2 races instead of just the one and done? Well, I think this definitely answers the question. It is still as much of a nail-biter, even with an extra 66 laps on the table.
Yeah, wasn't it D-Mar's championship?
Yes, it was.
He won that?
That's exactly what it was. Yep. That was. I want to say that was the second season that the 2-race final round inception took place.
All right, Seth, call him home.
So off through the tri-oval, Bob Seminara. He's going to pick up the victory. Tim Nofsker, 5th position will be enough for him to be able to claim another championship. It's been a long time since his last championship in the Talladega Challenge Series, and by 1 point, he is going to claim that championship crown. See the congratulatory bumps back there. Seminara with the congratulatory bumps for the victory.
Godfrey, the other Florida gang member, with Seminara. All right, Seth, no offense. I'm going to be quiet when you conduct the interview since I was part of this race.
Oh, no.
That way I don't have any biased ways here. Michael,
no, you're allowed to ask questions.
Up and do something besides use that pillow. You know that?
No.
Why do you have that pillow?
I bring this pillow in here because...
Look, use the pillow, Michael. Wrong pillow.
Wrong pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
he acts like it's a marshmallow, Seth. He needs to do something about that.
I know, I nom on it sometimes. It's okay.
But I mean, I'm going to sit right here and listen, but I'm just like, well, you know, I'm just not going to do the interviews based on me being part of this race, and it wouldn't be fair.
Oh, that's all right. I don't do interviews either.
That's your problem, not mine.
Seth takes all my questions
down here
anyways.
To the start-finish line, we're about to see Biscuits do some cooking. I had to slip Biscuits in there somewhere. Come on.
The fact that you said that when I was drinking something.
Burning it down, Bob Seminara here at Burton Screwdrivers Raceway.
Seth, okay, so I will say this. I was the one who mentioned Bob marinara sauce to you. Yep. We talked about Biscuits, and I mean, it is almost Christmas, so I guess Bob's gonna have himself a Sim and Merry Christmas or something like that.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, that hurts you, doesn't it?
That was
Yeah.
equally amusing and painful.
Yeah, like I said, I do go back and watch the broadcast.
See if we can find Nofsker. There he is, making his way now to the start-finish line, as we'll certainly see some championship burnouts from him. We've gotten treated to Despirito having the reverse burnouts. I'm surprised Seminary hasn't come up with some kind of fancy burnouts for his celebration.
I think he's too much old for that.
Oh, okay.
And there's a 088 also.
So what's Tim gonna do for us here?
Yeah, let's find out.
Bob's burning it down on the inside.
Oh, wait, if I remember correctly, I think Tim likes to do the burnout all the way along the apron through the tri-oval. Let's see.
There he goes.
Can he make it the whole way? If he touches the grass, it's not an official burnout.
He's gonna start again.
Oh, no! He clipped it. Ah!
I guess he's gonna have to serve a drive-thru for that.
Darn it.
Messed up the grass, huh?
It's coming out of his allowance.
All right. So with the wind down going on, you want to let us know about the finishing results?
Yep.
We already know that Oscar grabs that, but yeah.
We're going to be talking with Nofsker, the champion, as well as our podium finishers, Seminara, Wesley, and Sullins in just a moment. Brian Lovell will bring it home in 4th. DeMar brings it home 6th with John Godfrey. Jeremy Jeffries, 1 point shy of claiming his 2nd championship in the last 3 seasons. He'll be 8th. Bernie Mobbs, great run in 9th, and Dante Ricky will complete the top 10. Chuck McClure, the outgoing champion, going to finish in 11th. Greg Lovell, 12th with Hewlick. Garland Oaks, next comeback for the pole sitter, 14th. And Cy Jones completing the top 15. Rest of the top 20, Mike Mangialardi, Bobby Farrell, Bob Dixon, Kelly Causey, and Donnie Garrett. And then the last drivers to finish this race were McCarsky, Harris, Bombard, McDonald, and Elliser. 25 drivers completing this race. Rest of the drivers back behind the wall, from Jim Glaude on down through Mark Paglia. Of course, Josh Metallic, one of the final 4 coming into this final round for the championship. The engine failure, his season ends in 37th place.
Hey, real quick, I don't know if it was Kelly Causey or anybody else doing the chain bump that knocked Randy Waugh out, because it says right here is the gearbox. Do you think his engine probably let go or something?
Maybe.
I'm wondering if that's what happened, because it says gearbox on the incident.
Either that, or I have actually seen where if you end up blowing a gear and then retire out of the race, it will, because you had a gear missing, it will put the reason down as gearbox. That's a possibility as well.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of good runs. You're talking about Garland Oaks with that comeback. I mean, I was racing with him near the back most of this race, trying to get somewhere, and that guy never gave up the whole night. So that's a really good comeback for him.
Bunch of drivers there in the top 15. Dante Ricky, Chuck McClure, Greg Lovell also involved in a few wrecks here tonight, and were able to make some good comebacks.
And Bobby Farrell, he dropped out at one point and came back in, and he got a lap back, and look at him, top 20 and 17. That's a great comeback for him as well.
Great comeback for him. Bunch of drivers that were able to finish this race had damage as well, able to at least finish on the lead lap and under power in this finale. But let's now head down trackside, dial up some of our podium finishers before we talk with our race winner and our champion as well. See if we can get a hold of tonight's 3rd place finisher, Rodney Sullins.
User was moved.
Rodney, Michael, just Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
I'm sorry, new phone. Who's this?
Caller ID not recognized, huh?
What's up, fellas?
Hey, been a long time since we've had you up here for interview. Nice to see you back on the podium here this evening. Yeah, we were talking here tonight, a lot of different agendas for drivers. Drivers trying to get that final checkered flag of the season. Drivers looking for good momentum heading into next season. You were up there in the hunt for this thing. We unfortunately didn't get to see this thing end under green. You guys only had about a little less than a lap to be able to make something happen, but did you have some kind of a strategy in place to be able to get this victory, or were you just looking to end this season, I should say, on a high note with a good finish?
I wanted to end it, the season, period. I was hoping to end it on a high note. I obviously would have liked to have tried to have win. I was going to do what I could as long as I did. Jeremy and Tim were around me there at the end, so I didn't want to do anything stupid. But I wanted to finish on the podium because it's been a bad season. I've had a rough
Buddy
season.
joined your
So,
channel.
yes, wanted to end on a high note, maybe go into next season with a little bit of momentum. But that was the plan. I just needed a good finish. Went from 31st to third. I'll take that. I'm happy with it. It was a good race. Well, it was a wreck, a lot of wrecks, but for me, it was a good finish, good race.
You talk about it being a rough season, but able to have a great run there in the third position. Anything that you can kind of take away from this season in preparation for the upcoming 64th season of maybe like a list of do's and don'ts from what kind of didn't seem to go all that well here in season 63?
Man, I got caught up in a lot of other people's stuff. I know several times I got hit or was involved people were involved in a wreck right in front of me on pit road. And we went many races without a caution when that happened to me. And by the time we finally got a caution, I could catch back up. I was 20 something, 30 something spot with, 8, 10 laps to go. So I never could really, get anything like that to happen. Got wrecked a lot, missed a race with some family, with some, having to go to a funeral and stuff. So it's good to get this season out of the, behind. I did learn some things from this, season that I need to be a little bit more aggressive. I wait sometimes to make a move. I did that last week, and that's something that I'm gonna try to tell myself. Put the proverbial piece of tape on the dash for next season to be more aggressive.
Yeah, and just kind of following up on being aggressive, you talked about the awareness of what was going on, the situation with the 088 and the 1. We saw a lot of drivers, put them in the middle, not work with them. We ended up having a very aggressive battle on a restart just prior to the race ending yellow with Seminara and Tim Knopfsker. Seminara trying to get that lead, eventually getting that win. How difficult is it here in a finale like this? Being up there in the situation where you could win this race, those drivers are running for a championship. I mean, obviously, they've got their own agenda, so they've got a lot to lose. You can be able to be a little bit more aggressive. How do you balance that?
It's tough. It really is, because you don't want to be that guy who ends somebody's championship run. I think that happened to Josh last week. Of course, he blew his motor tonight, but last week he got wrecked, and that just deflates you going into this race. So, but you don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that person, that driver that ends somebody's championship. It's happened to me. I haven't been in the Final Four in a seems like 2 or 3 seasons now. I think I went like 5 or 6 in a row, and now I haven't been in there for 2 or 3. And I've had that happen. And it's the people don't do it on purpose, but you fight all season to try to win a championship, and then to have it get swept out from under your feet there when it didn't need to happen because somebody made a crazy mistake, just a crazy move that they didn't need to make. You don't want to be that person, and that's definitely not somebody I want to be.
Well, I can tell you one positive to take away here from the season. If the second half of the season is how you end up coming out swinging in season 64, we better be keeping an eye on this 38 car because you talked about all that hard luck, but you finish out the season the highest driver that didn't make the chase, 15th in points. So the consistency definitely came back down the home stretch, and hopefully we can see you carry that into the start of season 64 as we look to see you put that 38 back in victory lane. Rodney, congratulations on a great way to cap off the season. Great to have you back up here in the booth with that podium finish. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Thank you very much, Seth, Michael. I see Jess is in here. I don't know how much broadcasting she did, but either way, thank you all three. I can't wait to listen to this one. It's always great. Flatout Racing Network. Obviously, Rolling Thunder Gaming with Bones and Prime, and everything that they do behind the scenes that a lot of people don't even know about. Me being a staff member, I hear about it and know about it. Those guys do a great job keeping this thing going. Josh, Tim, uh, Wiley. We miss Wiley. But Josh and Tim do a great job. Robbie, we lost Robbie earlier in the year. So I want to thank those guys. Tim, I believe, is going to wind up being our champion. Jeremy, I think, won 2 out of the 3 championships. So I want to thank Jeremy for all he does for RTG and the website and the points and all that stuff. Donnie Garrett, Ultimate Garage Floors, Bob and Tom Dixon, Mark Paglia for the broadcast. Congrats to Bob Seminara on the win. Great job. My Burnt Screwdrivers teammates, my family, anybody's watching, I love you guys. John Godfrey. I don't say this often because I paint most of my own stuff. John did this Wrangler car. I added some Black Rifle stuff to it, but John Godfrey, phenomenal, underrated painter, did this car. Thank you, John. I love it. Black Rifle Coffee, Habana Brisa, and Wrangler. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
That's Rodney Sullivan's third place performance here tonight in the season finale, and he'll look to carry that momentum into season 64 at the start of the year 2025. Congratulations on the great run here, Rodney. Enjoy the off season here. We'll probably see you for that Christmas race and in preparation for the upcoming new season here of the Talladega Challenge Series.
I'll be there for the Christmas race, and for some reason, if I don't talk to y'all then, Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year to you guys and everybody out there. Thank you.
Absolutely, same to you. That's Rodney Sullivan, your third place finisher here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers
User was
Raceway.
moved out of
We
your
talked to this
channel.
guy in victory lane just before the Thanksgiving break. Let's see if we can dial up tonight's runner-up finisher, Grant Wesley.
User was moved
Hey,
to
Grant,
your
it's Michael,
channel.
Jess, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, so close to joining the multi-win club here in season 63. Did you need this thing to run green to the end? Was there just not enough time in that one lap to be able to generate enough momentum to get the 712 at the line?
Oh yeah, just definitely not enough time. I mean, I think I restarted there like 4th or 5th maybe, and yeah, it sucks. I hate to see these things end under caution. I was kind of working with Jeremy, my teammate there, throughout the race. I thought we had him in a good position there. And I seen Bynum and a few other guys went 3rd lane. He moved up, and then they all wrecked behind him, and he lost all of his help. So that's just the way it works here on the super speedways. Congratulations to Tim on the championship, though. That's pretty awesome. Anytime you see these come down to 1 point, that's what we all do this for. That's pretty exciting stuff. So congratulations to him. Yeah, I'll take a 2nd place finish though. I'd say with the exception of missing the majority of the season, we had a pretty good season. So we're geared up, ready to go for next season.
I asked Rodney the same question. Obviously, not in the playoffs, not in the hunt for the championship here. So you're trying to end the season with as many checkered flags as you possibly can. How difficult was it tonight with the 1 in the 088 up there in the top 5, top 10 most of the evening to kind of balance out the aggressiveness on how you were racing around those guys, knowing they had a championship on the line, but at the same time, you had something as well on the line in getting a final checkered flag here in season 63?
Yeah, that's as I said, I kind of had a alliance there with the 1. I was going to help him out. He's always helped me, and well, frankly, so is Tim. It's so hard to choose sides, you know what I mean? But yeah, you got to race those guys respectful, no matter what. It was tough. In the end, I seen an opportunity to go for that win when the caution dropped, and I was on the inside lane and got to turn 3, and Brian Lovell, he wiggled or did something and opened the door up, and yeah, just wasn't quite enough though. But yeah, you had to be aggressive, but you had to be respectful at the same time.
Some good momentum for you here down the home stretch, as you documented. Missed a good chunk of the season, but you had the win before the Thanksgiving break, the runner-up finish here tonight. How important is this for you in terms of momentum in preparation for the upcoming new season?
Oh, it's huge. Getting that win. I mean, we all know, I went a couple seasons without a win. That was bothering me a little bit. Um, I'd like to try to knock one off each season. That's sort of my goal. That's the benchmark. And I just wasn't getting there. And to be able to knock that off this season, that monkey's off my back, and it does take a little pressure off of me. And certainly the momentum, I've gotten a couple of second place finishes this season. That momentum's huge. Tons of confidence. I can't wait to start fresh in 2025.
Well, we talked about the numbers that Rodney was putting together down the home stretch here, the numbers you've been able to put together. I think we got to keep an eye on this 88 car as well at the start of season 64. You got that win here this season, a great way to end off the year with the runner-up finish. Grant, congratulations on a job well done. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yep, this night's all about Tim. So congrats on the championship. Well deserved. I'd like to thank the owners here, David Cannon and Sean Prime, the admins, Josh and Tim, and the late and great Wiley. We all miss them. FRN, thank you for doing the broadcast. My teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend Brittany.
That's Grant Wesley, your runner-up finisher here tonight in the finale of Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. He'll keep this momentum going at the start of 2025. Best of luck there. Congratulations on the great run here this evening, Grant.
Thanks.
And let's see if we can go down
User
to
was
Victory
moved out of
Lane
your
and
channel.
dial up tonight's multi-time winner, Bob Seminara.
User was moved
Hey,
to
Bob,
your
Michael
channel.
Jess and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
What's going on up there?
I'll tell you what, I think this new internet's giving you some newfound confidence because that battle between you and Nofsker for the race lead, I think that might have been the turning point of the race that got you this checkered flag. The timing of the yellows obviously helping out as well in the closing stages, but I want to talk about that battle because we know obviously there were 36 drivers coming into tonight. They weren't battling for the championship. They just wanted to end out the year with the final win in season 63. Those drivers that were battling for the championship had a lot more to lose. So the aggressive battle there, that dive to the top, back to the bottom. I mean, you kind of seemed like you knew you had him in a tricky situation where he had to be a lot more careful than you did.
Yeah, that was actually a split-second move. But yeah, I got a lot of frustration the last couple of seasons, so I wanted to end strong. But yeah, no, we had a good run there, and I know Tim. I was going to race him clean, but I just made a move, and then he went to block it, and I knew it looked like the bottom was going to have some power, so I got right back down there.
You joined the multi-win club here in season 63. Obviously, a lot of momentum heading into the new season, but what have you been able to figure out here now? Because, obviously we've seen you up there in the conversation a number of times this season. It seems like internet has been one thing that's plagued you a lot where you've had to drop to the back due to the connection issues. But, I mean, all of a sudden now we're finding you up there in the situations late and being able to make the moves that get you the win. You documented about frustration from last season. So what's been the turning point here?
Well, the last 2 seasons I worked on my pitting, and then of course the internet that messed me up the last few seasons. So if I could do it all together right here, I'm back. Bernie's Paints, Mobs Motors.
So this is just a personal question from me. Your teammate Joe DeSpirito, we see him win. He does reverse burnouts. When do we see you do some kind of a specialty burnout when you win?
I tore up the pace car there, the Corvette.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking about mine, but yeah, I tore that one up a little bit.
So the pace car's not safe when you win. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to have backup pace cars apparently whenever the 712 goes to Victory Lane. I'll make a note of that.
File that. Yeah.
All right. I'll also file a couple of insurance claims as well, just in case. But Bob, congratulations on the job well done, joining the multi-win class here in season 63. We'll let you get back to your celebrating, but before we do, floor is yours for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Okay, I'm going to take a little time here. So I'd like to thank FRN, you guys. Appreciate you. I enjoyed RTG, David Cannon, Sean, Josh for everything, and the patience, and Timmy, and everybody else that runs these leagues during the week. Brian Lavelle there pushing me strong the last, 15, 20 laps, 25 laps. Jessica on her bracket. Him on his long-awaited championship again. I hope we buried a hatchet with that one. Q, FTMF, Mobs Motors, Bernie Paint. The boys, the D's that I used to work with, and LC, giddy up. Thank you all. Merry Christmas.
That's Bob Seminara. He wins the season finale here in Season 63 this evening at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway to cap off a multi-win season. He'll look to carry this momentum into a championship season in Season 64. Congratulations once again on the great run, and Merry Christmas to you as well, Bob.
Thank you.
Well, Bob Seminara celebrates the
User was
victory
moved out
as a
of your
driver that's
channel.
also celebrating. He's celebrating a championship in a long time since his previous championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series, but he's finally back in the winner's circle, hoisting that championship trophy. Let's see if we can dial up the Season 63 champion, Tim Nofsker.
User was moved to
Tim,
your
Michael,
channel.
Jess, and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Sure do.
Well, man, congratulations on the championship. Looks like unofficial scoring, 1 point. Get you the title here in Season 63, but I want to go back to that final restart, only 2.66 miles to be able to get yourself in front of Jeremy Jeffries, and then you have to do it by 3 positions. He restarted 4th, you restarted in 9th, and seemed to be boxed in for at least half of that lap. How did you make it happen?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I was trying to get the inside line to get some momentum. I actually figured we'd run it out till the end, and I was hopeful that 3 wide, which kind of burnt me the start before that, might burn him. And yeah, they got bottled up on that middle line a little bit, and I took some chances there pushing Rodney, and thank God that he held on to it. And I wasn't sure where Jeremy finished at the end of that, but man, what an exciting race. It was seesaw back and forth between he and I the whole race, so it could have went either way.
Definitely flip-flopped at least 4 or 5 times, I think, between yourself and Jeremy for that points lead from green flag to checkered flag. Another thing that I was kind of keeping track of was the fact that you were able to get to the front, also led the most laps. So you had those 2 bonus points in your back pocket. Was that the strategy coming in? Make sure that you had those bonus points for an advantage there?
Well, I knew I definitely wanted to get every point I could, and so I got up to in position, and we were probably the winning move in my eyes was we were right on the cusp of 1 to 2 cans of gas under one of those cautions early, and I quicked it down to 1 can so it didn't delay me anymore to take a bump off the second can, and I was able to leapfrog from I think it was 3rd or 4th to 1st and get out there and get those caution laps led, and then subsequently lead a handful there. I think that probably got me the win for the championship.
You know, we talked about the storylines along this season. A lot of it revolved around drivers snapping winless streaks. I don't have the statistic in front of me, but I know that between yourself and the other 3 championship competitors, you were the one that had the longest streak of championship run from the furthest back, and you finally snapped that streak as well. How good does it feel to finally break back into the championship?
Well, it feels fantastic. Sometimes you doubt your skills and what you're doing, when you can't get over the hump, and I barely squeaked this one out, but I kind of had some motivation. I want to dedicate this championship to Wiley. I miss him every day, and I think I found some new focus when he passed away. So I think that I'm going to share this with him.
You know, you mentioned the word motivation. I want to touch on that for a minute because you'll be heading into the 64th season of this series as the defending champion. Is that going to give you a sense of motivation to double down? Do you think you're going to feel a bit more pressure to try and meet the bar that you set here in season 63? What side of that spectrum do you think you're going to fit on when the green flag flies for the brand new season?
Well, there's so many guys here that could win the championship, and I mean a lot. Some of the best racers in the sim are here. So there's always that level of pressure, and I love pressure. So I hope I do feel that pressure. So I have to go out and perform, but it's hard telling. I don't think it's really sank in yet as to that I actually was able to claim this one. It's been so long, so I just I'm pretty numb right now as far as actually winning. But I think pressure is great. So I hope I feel that pressure.
Well, we didn't get to see that last lap for the championship on lap 66. It ended up being on lap 63, but it was as good as the final lap, and it was a nail biter right down to the end. It is official, 1 point over Jeremy to win this championship. Tim, congratulations on the job well done. Tremendous season as well to be able to get into the playoffs, lock yourself into a round to advance in one of the first races of an early round, and then obviously making it into the final four. Got it started off right with that first race of this round of four, and then followed it up just the position you needed to get to be able to lock up this championship. Before we let you get back to your celebrating, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, I want to congratulate Jeremy on a hard fought final race and a close run to the championship there. Also have to thank Josh. We had to step up our admin duties given the fact that we lost Wiley. So he really helps out a lot and does a lot for this Thursday night Tally Challenge series. So thank you to him. I also need to give a thanks to Rodney Solons. Not only did he paint my car for this season, which I think I forgot to mention the last time, but he helped me a lot tonight. So I think I have to thank him. I want to give a shout out to Brian Schilling. He was missed at the end of this championship, and he is a strong competitor. And I'm thankful that he'll be back with us next season. So, Brian, if you're listening, we miss you, brother, and we'll see you next season. And then my usual suspects that help me every race, whenever we can, we help each other. Just because we like-minded and draft together, but that's Chuck and Mark, Chuck McClure and Mark Paglia. I couldn't do anything without those guys. We seem to find each other and run together, and I appreciate all the help that they give. And then obviously I got to give a shout out to you guys for covering the races and doing such a fantastic job with that. And also have to give a thanks to Dave Cannon, Sean Prime, my buddy Jason Scheck. Without them, we wouldn't have anything. So I know they were instrumental in getting the RLM back up, and so we can continue to do what we do. So other than that, I think that's about it.
Well, that is your champion for the 63rd season here of the RTG Talladega Challenge Series, Tim Nofsker. 5th place tonight garners him the title by 1 point. Congratulations on the job well done. Enjoy your off season here in preparation to defend your title in 2025. Congratulations on your championship, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Tim Nofsker with the championship.
User
He'll be
was
the
moved
driver
out of your
everybody's
channel.
gunning for. Try and topple the big dog when the green flag flies in the beginning of January. And also, congratulations to Jeremy Jeffries, as you heard Rodney allude to. 3 weekly series run here down the home stretch of 2024. And Jeremy took the championship in the Monday night Bare Bones Racing Series, as well as the Wednesday night Lightning Truck Series as well. So going 2 for 3 in the championships here, coming up 1 point short of the trifecta to Tim Nofsker on Thursday nights. Michael Jess, I mean, we alluded to it here before we even took the proverbial checkered flag with the race ending under yellow. A lot of people might be a little bit skeptical on just how close the battling is going to be when you have 2 races in that final round rather than it just being the 1 race and that's it. But this is the second time that it has come down to a single point, a single position for the championship since that entire concept has been put into place.
Yeah, and ever since it's been put into place, we've seen a lot of not just aggressiveness and like it seems like it's been more calculated, even though it's been like a little ramped up aggression. It's been more calculated, and there's been a lot more surprises. You think you know what's going on, then all of a sudden something different happens, and you get new winners, new people in the top 10. The people who are pretty much dominant are struggling to stay with their dominance based on all these new little factors coming and going. The brackets, like you were mentioning last week, you get your mindset on the brackets, and your mind kind of goes out of the championship hunt, just focusing on that. And it's always a little bit more difficult trying to figure out with one person, not counting what your points are, your championship racing, all those points together, trying to figure out, do you really want to force yourself to gain more spots, or are you comfortable riding where you are, looking at everybody else? And you got Dega, you've got BSR, flip flopping. We've seen the middle, like we were talking about earlier, middle, the bottom, the high side, working back and forth. They tweaked a little bit of the setup. What was it, last season or so? And that throw a huge curveball at everyone. Who knows what's in store for the next season?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait to see what's in store. 1 point per position can lead to a lot of exciting finishes. I mean, we've seen that firsthand before, and I can't wait to see it again.
Saw a lot of winless streaks snapped, as we've alluded to. Seen a lot of drivers. Jesse, you alluded to some favorites, some usual suspects that we see usually in the playoffs that didn't make it. We talked to a couple of them here tonight. Very motivated with the momentum they've had here down the home stretch in preparation for the new season. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we're continuing to see the experience level, the success level continue to tighten up, making these playoff spots even more covetousness. I think that we're going to be in for a nail biter of an entire season when we get started in January for season 64, and cannot wait to see what stories do unfold. But we appreciate everybody that tuned into our coverage here tonight and the entire season. Again, we're not done here on Thursday nights. We've got one more Thursday night broadcast coming up next week on the 19th of December. We'll be back here with the RTG drivers at Michigan Winter, as the Aero 88 cars will be running the special event, the 2024 RTG Christmas race. Be sure to join us for that one. There's no points on the line. There's no championship on the line.
Just fun.
Just fun. There's some pride on the line, some bragging rights for the next season's Christmas race, all that kind of stuff. And
I'm not going to be part of that.
Well, you're going to be up here in the booth with me, so you're still going to be part of it in some facet.
I'm gonna trade that with Michael at Michael Race, and I'll be up here.
You're gonna actually
I ain't gonna be here.
You're gonna actually walk up the steps to the skybox rather than try to drive up the catch fence to get
No, that's too much work for muscles. I'd rather just go one way and be that way, and watch Michael try to drive and find out that there's a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
Except that I ain't gonna be here.
Honestly, the only way you're gonna get a pole, Michael. I'm sorry. I'm saying that as a 3-time pole sitter in the Tally Challenge. You're welcome. But thanks to both of you for Jess. Obviously, unfortunate circumstances bringing you up here.
Yeah.
I appreciate you helping us close out this broadcast. Michael, appreciate your help the entire season as well.
Yeah, I'm going to bed now.
I can't wait to see what happens next year in season 64. And congratulations once again to Tim Knopfsker on the championship, Bob Seminary on the victory, and our own Jessica Shelton on the Bracket Series championship here in season 63. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage here this season. Hope to see you next season. For Michael Norman, Jessica Shelton, I'm Seth Cole. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if we don't see you next Thursday night. Until next broadcast, you've been watching another production of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.